Welcome everybody. This video we're doing a bit of a catch-up video on what's been happening with our mini camper. So if you remember, this was a restoration roulette project where Keith threw the dart and it landed on this super cool Mini, but it was in a bit of a state, so we set about restoring it in a month, which we did, and we actually crushed the time limit. We did it in, what was it, Keith, 25 days? Yeah. Sound. Keith's just hiding behind the corner over there. It looked good, everything was going well. I bought all new stuff just to make it like super duper reliable, and a new coolant hose went. And then the engine got a little bit hot, not overly hot, but it lost all its gears. So a couple of months ago, we took the engine out, well, Simon took the engine out, and we sent it off to a chap that just rebuilds these mini gearboxes. And in a good way, the gearbox wasn't damaged. So what had happened is the engine had obviously got really hot. All the sludge inside the engine went thin, dropped to the bottom. And if you know about mini engines, the bottom of the engine is actually the gearbox. So that sludge went into all the automatic valve body, gunked it all up, and that's why we lost the gears, and I think we only had third gear. You had the whole engine, split it, stripped it, cleaned it. There's a couple of oil ports in there that are too small as standard apparently, and they damage, so he's drilled them out bigger. A couple of bearings as well he's added, which are bigger and stronger. So now basically our gearbox is bomb proof. So we're gonna get it in. Well, Simon's gonna get it in. And yeah, we're gonna get this thing running and hopefully do a proper drive video and not go just next door where we did last time. So without further ado, let's crack on. So here we go. They've pushed it straight on the ramp and getting stuck in. So you'll notice Simon's chief trainee today is Keith. So the best thing about these mini engines is you don't have to take all the suspension off to get the drive shafts in. You just drop the engine in, shift it to the left, pop one in, shift it to the right and pop the other in. Drop it on the engine mounts and then jobs are good 'un. So simple stuff next is put the brake master back in, pop the carb on and bolt up the exhaust. Then the alternator goes on, the fan and the radiator. Then we just got to fill it up with oil. Bonnet on, and then we're ready to start. Let's have a go, mind your noggin. Oh. Low bridge. Right. Just make sure he's in park. Put it all the way out. Put it like right the way out. Then push it in. Oh, there we go. Hey! It's getting worried then. You know what it was? You didn't blow the... Yeah, fuel up. Right, put it in drive. Just cycle it up and down through the gears, because the torque converter's empty. No. Just put it in reverse. Yeah, it's working that. Turn them off. We'll check the oil again. You can hear it coming out the torque converter.
Why does he do that then?
Can you hear that? It's because he's had all the gearbox off and the torque converter. So we'll check the oil again and make sure it's making all googly noises.
Yeah, does it drain in and out then?
It shouldn't, no. Once it's filled, it should stay in there.
Right.
Might take a bit more. Right, let's try again in a minute. Okay, we're back. Took an extra 2 litres of oil, that did. Mind your head this time.
He didn't hit it this time.
Yeah. So that's 7 litres of oil in a mini engine.
Really?
Mad. Right, go on then, start it up. Ooh, fire it up. Just put it in reverse. There we go. Working now. Right. Ooh. What was that? Try all the way down in first. Because we had no first before. Yeah, that's working.
Yeah, this wheel's spinning now.
Yeah. Right, turn him off. Let's get it down.
Tidy.
Give it a go. Sound. This is the moment of truth. Will it work? So that's first, second, third, come on, fourth. Brilliant. So this is the first proper road test I've done in it, really, even though I've had it over a year. It broke down, what, like 2 miles up the road. I didn't really get to have a good sort of feel of it because I was obviously panicking, because whenever you restore a car, it's kind of worrying the first road test, so I was too busy like looking at everything to enjoy it. But yeah, we're in D. What are we sat at? 50 mile an hour. And it's quite quiet, really, seeing as everything's made of wood, and you'd think it to be real rattly, but oh, we're at 55 now, going downhill. That's pretty good. I'm chuffed with that. It seems quite soft as well. Usually, like, I've had, well, from the age of 17 to 20, I had 8 or 9 minis, you know, and you drive them and it's like that, but yeah, this is quite soft and nice. I wonder, you can get the rubber suspension donuts that have got the holes in to make it softer. I wonder if it's got those on it. It's relaxing. Oh, we're coming up to a hill. Let's test the kick down. There we go. Yeah, quite chuffed with this. Let's sit back and enjoy it. This car, tax exempt, so you don't have to pay road tax. MOT exempt. Basically free motoring, you just got to insure it and stick fuel in it. Engine, easy to work on. Gearbox has been done now, so it should be future proof. It's changed all the inside, so it's much better. Electrics, wiring, I think there's only like 4 fuses in the car. This is like one of the most simplest back to basics car you can get. And holidays, what's it going to cost you? 12 quid a night or something at a camping place. Probably stick a tent, put all the rubbish in that, and then you can still drive around in this. Yeah, brilliant. I like this. So we got a hard bend coming up. Let's just slow down from 60 to 40. That's it then. That's all the outside done. All the engine's done. Mechanically it's sound. So next is the inside. Cool. So with any camper van, what is the first thing you think of that could go wrong? That's right, gas. You don't want any gas leaks or any problems in that way while you're sleeping in there. So the original gas bottle looked about the age of the car, really, about 50 years old. So I took it to our guy that sorts our welding gas out, and he had a look at it. Basically, he said, oh, they last forever. The only thing goes wrong with them is a little valve in the top. So he got the old one, took the regulator off, and the thing just like, well, it didn't explode, but all the gas just shot out of it. Basically, that valve was stuck open. So had to spend the money and get a new bottle, but nothing cheap, it's 45 quid, it's nothing. And then he moved on to the regulator. So this is the original gas regulator that turns the gas on and off. It's a plastic one, and they're no longer, I don't know, credited or whatever. You can't have these anymore. It has to be a metal one. So that was another purchase. And then he looked at the pipe that joins the gas bottle to like the oven and stuff. Funnily enough, this one says fuel injection, so that means it's fuel pipe. And apparently you have to change it every 10 years, the proper gas pipe stuff. So got a bit of gas pipe as well to put on there. But I'm gonna get this in, and then a bloke is turning up in about half an hour's time. He services caravans and campers. He's gonna go through it, so it's 100% safe. I don't know about that gas heater, whether you're allowed those anymore, because again, who wants to leave a gas heater on all night while you're sleeping? I know I don't, but it's what they used to fit. So let's get this in the car ready for our mate to turn up and check it all over. Okay, we're back. We're a day later. Our mate didn't want to be on camera. Who can blame him, really? So, learnt a lot. He told me a few of the rules that I needed to put in place and a few that I mucked up. So, the first one being is, I think he called them drop vents or down vents. Basically, under every gas appliance, there has to be a vent. So, if the gas leaks, say, out the bottle, it like goes down and then out the bottom of the camper. Same with the fridge. So I quickly knocked some up on the 3D printer, just like circular plug shaped ones with vent holes in them, and then drilled them into the floor. Job's a good one. Other than that, he did disconnect our gas heater. He was the same opinion of me, you know, as it does still work, it's something you don't want really connected. You can just, now we've got a plug, just get an electric heater. The fridge he looked at, he said was good. So apparently on these, because it's gas obviously, when you light it, if that flame is burning like orange colour, that means the jet or the needle, whatever, delivers the gas into that combustion chamber. But ours is nice and blue, which means that fridge is running perfect. The last thing he said to me, which was a bollocking, so some simple-minded person put the the main fuse box for the mains voltage, directly under the fridge. You cannot have mains electric anything directly under a gas appliance, because obviously gas, if it leaks, goes downwards, goes into the electric box, and yeah, that is your problem. So he said make a barrier. So what I've done, I've made a little step. I'll show you. There it is. So it's a inch thick, fits to the sides perfectly. And then if the gas, I've actually removed the trip box out the way as well and stuck that down vent in there. So now if the gas leaks, straight down that vent, totally misses the electric side of it. And that's it. Our camper van is now 100% mint. Took a year, a bit like the beach buggy, but it's done and dusted and somebody can go camping. So the question is, the first raffle. I've got to do a couple of cash giveaways, I think, just so me and Keith can work out how to do the live giveaway so we don't muck anything up. And then the first car we're going to do is either going to be this mini camper or the beach buggy. So if you leave in the comments what you would like to win first, yeah, let us know. Both are totally mint cars, and I'll let you know which one we're putting in. So that's it for this video. From me as always, say see you again. Ta-da.
Time for bed, yeah.